Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I am so very grateful and honoured to be the MLA for Edmonton-Beverly-Clareview. I stand before you today with immense gratitude for the support which I received during the election from the many dedicated volunteers and activists who gave of their time, and of course the voters of Edmonton-Beverly-Clareview for placing their trust in me. That collective effort by everyone involved, from nomination right through the end of the election, doors knocked, leaflets dropped, phones called and signs installed, all those incredibly important conversations, is a testament to the strength of our democracy and a testament to what can be achieved when people work together. Edmonton-Beverly-Clareview is a gem of Northeast Edmonton. This is a place that is firmly rooted in the land of Treaty 6 and Métis Nation 4. The people who live, work and play here have a deep sense of place, links to history and their ancestors, and an immense gratitude for the community which surrounds and supports them. It's an area which is about heart, relationship, connection, and community. Its eastern edge runs along the banks of the North Saskatchewan River, and because of that, Beverly-Clareview is home to two of the best parks anywhere, Hermitage and Rundle Park. There are picnic areas, boat launches, cycling, running, and walking trails, dog parks, swimming, family centres, golf, and even Frisbee golf, which I am no good at. If you happen to visit either Hermitage or Rundle Park on any given weekend day, you'll see and hear laughter, people, families, dogs, soccer games, events, and fundraisers. And on a lovely fall or spring day, you might just see a classroom or two exploring some of the trails that Edmonton's River Valley is so very famous for. And if there's any sort of dividing line in the riding, it's the Yellowhead, Highway 16. That's the road that often carries folks back and forth to work, sometimes near and sometimes far. To the south of the Yellowhead lie the communities of Bergman, Abbotsville, Beacon Heights, Beverly Heights, and Rundle Heights. And to the north, you'll find Belvedere, Homesteader, Belmont, Overlanders, Hermitage, Bannerman, South Clareview, and Haresine. Each one of these neighbourhoods has its own feel, its own sense of where it fits, and its own understanding of just how important its community is in what makes Northeast Edmonton so very, very special. Beverly is located south of the river. Many folks take pride in the fact that their family has resided in this former coal mining town for generations, and many folks take an awful lot of pride in their Ukrainian roots. Cherimosh makes its home here. Parts of the area feel very much like a small town. And if you walk down 118th Avenue on a lovely Tuesday in the summer, you'll pass by mom and pop stores, the farmers market, bakeries, restaurants, pharmacies, and the Somali Inn, to name a few. Clareview, to the north of the Yellowhead, may be a bit younger than Beverly, but it very much shares that same spirit. During the 1987 tornado, folks in Clareview came together to support and care for one another. And that sense of care and focus on community remains. It's there that you'll find the Clareview Rec Centre, the Edmonton Soccer Centre, which I have to say is the coolest floor ever, the Clareview Skate Park, green spaces, walking paths that link one area to another, and of course, Sobeys, one of the many important community hubs. Community is the reason why this riding is home to active community leagues, seniors organizations, and faith groups. It is also why the area is home to not one but two libraries and a number of little libraries. Community is also the reason why the Beverly Business Association and the Fort Road Business and Community Association work so very hard to promote not only their members' businesses but also their vision for the area, a future firmly focused in that place and on its community. Community is also the reason why Beverly-Clareview is the home to many nonprofits, not-for-profits, cooperatives, and other organizations that have long served the people of this area. It's the work of those service providers and agencies like We Can, Candora, the Tegler Youth Centre, the Abbotsfield Rec Centre, and C5, among many, many others, which serves to underscore another facet of reality of life at Edmonton-Beverly-Clareview, that sometimes things can be really tough for folks. And these days, it seems, things are getting only tougher, particularly for those who experience any level of vulnerability. These organizations provide services and programs that are essential. For example, WeCan has served the area's job seekers for 30 years. Generations of workers have been helped by them. Now, however, when their community needs them arguably the most, they are struggling to acquire sustainable funding. And this is an issue not only for WeCan, but for many other similar community service organizations. And this is something this government could choose to remedy. My route to elective office was somewhat circuitous. I've been a secretary, an assistant manager in a store, a stay-at-home mom, a day-home mom, and a single mom. I've been a singing and piano teacher, a student, and last of all, for the last 24 years, a teacher. I'm a mom to 2 daughters, Sarah and Megan, and a grandma to 4. I am also Keith and Kathy Wright's daughter. When I was a child, politics was a daily occurrence. My parents were both politically active. We talked about what was happening in the world. We talked about social justice and the need for change, change that always puts people first. That idea of service and the important role that government can play in making people's lives better. The importance of public health care and public education and the difference they make, as well as the consideration of the effect of one's actions on all those future generations. Those talks with my family and my extended family, those sometimes heated talks owing to just a few differences of opinions now and then, those conversations about all those things that matter, conversations at supper, during backyard family gatherings, conversations with my incredibly strong mom and my grandmother spurred me into action and landed me on people's doorsteps, talking to folks in support of candidates. But the act of becoming a candidate itself took a bit longer to get to. What propelled me forward, finally, was 2 very specific things. As a teacher, I watched 4 years of cuts decimate early education. I was assistant principal at Beacon Heights the year pre-kindergarten was cut, and thousands of educational assistants were fired. 3 schools in Beverly-Clareview lost their pre-K program. And as an assistant principal, I saw the aftermath, increased complexity, students without the supports they need, the refusal to fund for enrollment growth, school staff trying to do the very best they can on behalf of students every day because they care and because it's what they do all the time. But because those supports aren't there, because there aren't enough teachers and EAs, what we are seeing is a negative, long-lasting effect on kids, parents, and school communities. Education is the great equalizer. It must be funded appropriately. Hear, hear. I also saw firsthand what was happening in our healthcare system as my mom went in and out of hospital and finally into home care and later palliative care. The nurses, doctors, and other healthcare workers were, to a person, fabulous. But this government, in its creeping steps toward privatization and the offloading of services, let my mom, my dad, and quite frankly, my entire family down. Publicly funded and publicly delivered healthcare is what Albertans expect. And Mr. Speaker, that is what the people of Beverly-Clareview expect and deserve. Those are the personal stories I shared with folks on the doorsteps this past May. Edmonton-Beverly-Clareview, just like the province, is also an incredibly and increasingly diverse place. It is home to people who work incredibly hard. These are workers who work in the oil patch, in education, in healthcare, in administration, in retail, in restaurants, in fast food, in administration, in restaurants. They are proud of the work they do to support themselves and their families, but right now, as we grapple with this affordability crisis, they are struggling. They are struggling to pay rent, to buy groceries, to pay for their children's school fees, to find a job that can provide more than just adequately for their needs. They expect their government to do better. As MLA, I'm thrilled to follow in the footsteps of all of the past MLAs from Beverly-Clareview. People I have the deepest respect for, but most particularly Ed Owaziak, Ray Martin, and Darren Billis. Their combined commitment in advocating and working on behalf of those hardworking folks who call Northeast Edmonton their home paved the way for progress and growth in Edmonton-Beverly-Clareview. It is not an exaggeration to say that without their support and guidance that I wouldn't be here today. Certainly, when I first began teaching music at both Beacon Heights Elementary and Sifton School all those years ago, I could not have imagined that I would find myself years later representing the voices of not only the folks of those 2 fabulous communities, but the entire riding of Beverly-Clareview itself. Yet, here I am. So let me close as I began with an immense gratitude to all those who helped me get here and who continue to lend me their time and effort. I wish I had time to mention all of you by name. But to our mighty Beverly-Clareview team, those lovely and amazing folks who dedicated their time, who spent so many hours working for that better future, who canvassed when the temperatures were absolutely horrendous, to my family, my mom, my dad, my daughters, and my grandchildren, know that I hold you in my heart. And to the folks of Edmonton-Beverly-Clareview, please know that I will strive to represent all of you in the very best way I can. And I'm going to close by saying something that I've often said at functions just before we all sit down to eat. We are thankful for these and all the good things in life. We recognize that they are a part of our common heritage and come to us through the efforts of our brothers and sisters the world over. What we desire for ourselves, we wish for all. To this end, may we take our share in the world's work and the world's struggles. Thank you. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I move we adjourn debate.